Crypto Warriors, Stagnation, top of the morning to you. Double up.
Champion.
Yes, sir. Let's make sure we're live. Let's make sure everything is everything is copacetic. We're good. And let's get this show on the road. We have quite a few things today to talk about.
Yep.
All right. I think we're good. The channel live on your side?
Yeah, channel is live. I'm checking out the Gentlemen of Crypto to see what's going on there. It seems like there's another live show going on at the moment.
That would be because it's our live show, my guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Let's see.
No, there's somebody else on right now.
All right. Well, anyway, let's keep it rolling. I think we should be good to go there. So, today we're going to be talking about or bringing you some updates on the Amsterdam Bitcoin conference and RGB. Interesting innovation there. Binance launching a $500 million fund to support mining, explosive growth on the Lightning Network,
Yes, sir.
and of course, the very first Bitcoin conference in Africa is going to be happening in Ghana in December, actually. And we'll close out with some chats on Web3 and NFTs. And of course, there's going to be a little bit of TA. How can we go without TA, eh? Yeah.
Hey.
Well, let's jump right into it. Double up. What
Champion.
do we have, sir?
All right, go ahead and hit me up with the latest and greatest.
Yes.
What's going on? What's going on in the Bitcoin space? For right now, there is. I'm not sure if you guys are even aware of it. There's this Bitcoin conference going up in Europe. And as a matter of fact, I'm not sure if you guys are also familiar with RGB. RGB is open source developers applications, almost kind of like GitHub, and they have been working heavily, I think, 3, 4, 5 years now on DeFi, even NFTs in the Bitcoin space. And this is one of the latest announcements: is that you can now they're going to be releasing the products where you can now have smart contracts and DeFi applications on the Bitcoin network. And go ahead and play this video real quick.
Also, RGB are privacy-based smart contract using zero-knowledge proofs, meaning that it will allow to bring the privacy and confidentiality in the Bitcoin world to the new level.
Yeah, so basically, it's a long video. We can go ahead and add this link to the video once it's done. But basically, RGB is going to be introducing DeFi to the crypto space, but it's going to be based on the Bitcoin network. That could help a lot with this, because the DeFi space has been having a lot of crumblings lately, especially with the hacking of the DeFi cross-chain applications. I think that is major for sure.
Well, I think that is interesting because from what it seems like, right? It's saying that this RGB thing is if you will, a smart contract platform essentially for the Bitcoin and the Lightning Network. It's very interesting stuff. I think that it is cool that they're doing it on the Lightning Network, but does it seem like something that might be centralized in some ways of operation?
No, because it's going to be on the Lightning Network. So that's major. Because if you're on the Lightning Network, centralized or not centralized, it's not as centralized as Ethereum-based applications. Because you can kind of want to say layer 2 or layer 3 solutions are somewhat centralized, but it's private and it's open source. So I think that removes the old centralization of it. It's off-chain, which is critical for avoiding hacks into Bitcoin itself. People can make that argument that that's centralized, but it's still.
When you think of DeFi and crazy yields, as we've seen it in the crypto space, right? I think that's where I am kind of having some.
No, there's not going to be any sorts of crazy use on this one for sure.
Well, we don't know until it shows up. But
Yeah.
I definitely do need to look more into it though to understand it better.
Yeah.
But I think it's pretty cool. Interesting stuff happening on the Bitcoin network there.
Yep.
Right. Moving on here, if we look at the current state of things right now, especially in this bull market, we know that mining has been a major issue, right? Well, non-mining has been a major issue, but the bear market and its cost to miners has been a
Yep.
major issue, right? Mining
Yes, sir.
difficulty going up with more people getting into space, and of course, the cost of mining itself has increased significantly. However, we see that Binance recently announced that they're launching a $500 million fund to support the mining industry.
Yes, sir.
In this time when it seems that most of these entities may be at risk of going bankrupt. So Binance, let's see here. So Binance here on Friday announced that it will be launching a $500 million pool for Bitcoin miners. So if you're trying to get into the mining operation, you can potentially apply and get part of this loan. Or if you're already an existing operation, it seems you can apply and get some of this loan to keep you afloat with a 5 to 10% payback, interest, right? Interest rate for the payback. It seems Binance has become the bank. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I've been saying it. There's gonna be the bank of the digital space, and Coinbase and Binance seems to be leading the show at the moment. FTX also, I think. But I think those are the three ones that I will look into. If you're looking to get into that space, infrastructure-wise, it makes sense that they have to diversify. So getting involved in mining makes sense, so that they're not only looking at remittance from transactions or from trading. So getting into mining, even though they own other exchanges, it's a good strategy.
Absolutely. Well, I think it is cool as well that they're supporting the space.
Yep.
Especially at a time like this. Binance is like the OG, man. These guys have been here from the beginning. It almost seems like, and they're still going strong.
I think
to
the
Coinbase, it's
the Winklevoss twins are invested in them too as well, if I'm not wrong.
Those guys
Yep.
those guys jump into the space like way early.
Yep.
And they're still in there. Now, the next thing that we're going to be looking at here, and I thought this was quite interesting given everything that has been happening, but this has been the adoption rate of the Lightning Network. Now, River Financial is one of the biggest node operators, right? And recently they released a report which was showing that, or essentially just showing the rapid growth on the Lightning Network. And with this sort of growth, I mean, you could say clearly that Lightning is the payment method of preference for the future, if you will, right? So we can see here, we're just going to look at a couple charts from the report they released. You can see that the Lightning Network channels, and Lightning Network channels, for those who are not familiar, essentially are channels that are open between various nodes that allows people to be able to transact small amounts of Bitcoin and getting that instant settlement, right? And by instant settlement, we mean that you don't have to wait for a block to close, right? Or a block to be mined before, the 10-minute waiting period before your transaction is settled. And we can see that since 2019 up until now, we've seen over, just the capacity, right, of the Lightning channels has reached over 100,000 Bitcoins, or a little bit under 100,000 Bitcoins. I think that this is significant because this makes transactions much more easier.
You mean the 100,000 channels? Yeah.
Yeah, so there's been over 100, or is it? Yeah, sorry, 100,000 channels. I'm thinking of the wrong chart. So there's been over 100,000 channels, right? Which, by the way, we still need to open one ourselves.
I mean, we need to join one, right? We already have one.
We can join one, or we can open one of our own. However, to open one of our own, or if you have a node and you want to open a channel, you have to go find someone who is going to provide you some liquidity to initiate your channel, and then you go from there. So that's and at that point you can now transact in Lightning. Now, we're looking at the capacity here, right? Over the past couple years, since 2019 to now, you can see that since the launch of this Lightning Network, which was in 2018, by the way. So that just tells you how crazy that adoption is. This thing was launched in 2018. And you can see that the capacity of the network itself has grown to over 500,000 Bitcoins, right? And this just represents how much money can be transacted on using this Lightning channels, right?
Yeah.
So 500,000 Bitcoin, that is a significant amount, and I think this will only keep growing.
Yes, sir.
Your thoughts?
This is your area of expertise. I'm still trying to get myself a lot more involved in understanding how to get this
Lightning
node running
situation.
and operating our own nodes.
Yeah.
But yes, this is definitely good work in progress. Yes, good to see, because that's always been the complaint when we talk to people in the cryptocurrency space, is that, oh, Lightning Network is slow. It's not as fast. And I'm like, is speed the problem that we're trying to solve? Or we're trying to solve the issue of money versus currency? I mean,
Yeah.
I don't longer have to wait for 5 days. I mean, waiting a few minutes for a transaction to happen doesn't make a huge difference.
Man, anywhere globally, instant settlement is not something that anyone can complain about. You know, so I think that is definitely good. Let's check out some comments before we roll forward here. So we have a comment from Hannah Isabella. She says,
I don't know, man. I think that's a bot right there.
a bot is leaving a comment, man. This is incredible. Dr. Amaldin will help bringing my lover to me. Okay, well, look at that. Man. We tried to read the comments, but we got trolled, and that's something. All right. Well, we'll keep it pushing here. Bitcoin conference in Africa. Double up.
Yeah. I think this is one of the things that we're super, super passionate about. Actually, we'll be on the continent about a day or two late to that conference. If it was in Nigeria, I'm for sure going. But Ghana, well,
Right.
I don't know why they picked Ghana, but for sure, maybe they thought Ghana was much safer and they believed all the lies about Nigeria not being safe. But yeah, no hate against no hate against the Ghanaians. But I think, having it in Ghana is definitely for sure a good thing. At least the first one in Ghana, that is good for the continent, especially with the governments understanding the need for a currency, or the current president talking about one Africa. One of the biggest things that's, if you read your history or you understand history, you realize that even after colonization, a lot of African countries, including Ghana, Senegal, even Nigeria, they've not really received their independence. A lot of the big institutions are still controlled by the colonizers. So getting away or getting your true independence requires and involves controlling your finances, controlling your money. And Africans don't have money; they have currency, which is pegged to the U.S. dollar or to the pound or to the French. What's the French franc?
The French franc. Yeah.
Absolutely. So until you get your own full currency that the entire continent can transact with, I don't think you're gonna solve or develop or get out of that old developing country or poor nations. And Bitcoin provides that solution. So the more or the earlier the governments, which I have to say a lot of them are still controlled by the institutions or the colonizers, once they understand Bitcoin, I think the currency for the continent should be Bitcoin.
I agree. I think it's I hit up Sam after you sent me this article. I hit up Sam and asked him if he knew some people in Ghana who might want to go to the conference, since I cannot make it. But if I can buy a ticket for one or two people, man, I think that would be pretty cool. Because you get to learn something new, and hopefully it's beneficial for them. Still waiting on Sam to reply though. So I think this is absolutely cool, absolutely incredible. Let us know. Now, before we close things out here, now let's talk a bit about the NFT space and Web3 space, because it is very interesting what is going on these days in this area. We know that the SEC, obviously, this is so appropriate. Game over, he says it right there. We know the SEC, right, for one, is definitely coming after a lot of the crypto space. Right?
Open seas, all the NFT developers and all that good stuff.
Exactly. They're definitely coming against Yuga Labs. The apes. Gensler is coming after them. Now, two sides here. We see that entertainment giant Konami is seeking personnel to set foothold in Metaverse and Web3. Tell us a little bit more about this. Obviously, we're not going to run through the whole article, but what's going on?
I think a few videos back we talked about how Web3 is dead. How the metaverse, especially the one that Facebook is working on, is dead.
Right.
Other firms have seen an opportunity to get in and kick some butt. And Konami is one of the biggest farms when it comes to online gaming,
Online gaming,
gaming
yep.
applications, and they are getting ready to now start setting foot in the space. This is a company that has Metal Gear, Silent Hill, Dance Revolution. I mean, they've made a lot of money in the space, so
Yep.
they see the opportunity in the metaverse and in the Web3 space, and especially with NFTs. Anywhere you see the money going, you gotta follow. So just looking at this article makes a lot of sense if you're into the space, into the NFT space, because these guys know that JPEG is not the answer. They know that you have to create some full utility. They're going after those utility in their video games or in creating music or creating actual functional NFTs. That's where they're coming from, and they're gonna give Facebook some competition for sure because this is what they've been doing forever. It's just a matter of gamifying and monetizing it for them and the users.
Absolutely. I think when it comes to the gaming space and using NFTs to represent some form of value, I think
Yeah.
that makes sense. I
Yep.
think it's just the next evolution of gaming points.
Yep.
But the idea of using NFTs and things like that as a representation of all this other crazy stuff is where I think, for me, we start running into issues. So
Yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
It's funny you say that because RGB is also working on NFTs for the Bitcoin space. So there's this article that I was reading over the weekend about the issue in the NFT space right now is
Yeah.
owning your own assets. I think we might even have an article about that in a little bit. The whole issue about licenses, do I own this? If I'm on your platform, how much of my license do you own? That's a big NFT. The Twitter NFT space was going crazy this weekend. There's been a lot of rumblings going on right now, with especially the huge reduction in users in the NFT space and in the metaverse.
What are they talking about in the spaces?
They're just going after each other and just trying to figure out some unity. What percentage of my actual NFTs do you own if I created it on your platform? I can find the article right now, but
It's
yeah.
interesting because no, I get the gist. It's interesting because that sounds like something that regulation would fix, where society or the whole community agrees that this is how you operate within this space. Versus anyone just throwing what they want out there. And then, of course, you have all the rock pools that are also been going on in this space. It is interesting because for something that is supposed to be bringing this next level of operation, right, we are seeing a significant amount. I don't know. I'll probably have to go find like a chart of, hacks and stuff like that to see whether hacking has been happening more now or in the past, right? Because there is this website here. It's called Web3 is Going Great. And what it does is essentially documents all your hacks and rock pools in a timeline. We can see that when Ethereum recently had their merge, over 51% of the blocks validated on the Ethereum chain were censored. This is something that, happened.
Centralization versus decentralization.
Exactly. And it goes on and on, right? You see exploitation of $971,000 that gets front run by bots, right? So you have bots front running people into trades and stuff. What's actually interesting is I was doing maybe I want to say a week or a month ago. No, what a wide range. About maybe like 3 weeks to a month ago, I was learning some stuff about placing orders on the Ethereum network, and I literally sat there and watched someone set up a bot that front runs anything you're trying to do on MetaMask. So as you place your order, it just reads your order, and so you placing your order is essentially placing an order for someone else, and your bot is what it is. But when you have a long list as such of incidents within the space, at what point does the space actually turn their direction to solving this ongoing issue before we move forward with everything else they're trying to offer. Because it sounds to me all they're doing is trying to increase the exposure for everyone uh, without resolving this issue.
I think it's like that. Anytime you have a new technology, there's gonna be the distractors. Just like we had the old electric vehicle, and then we had a bunch of fake so-called electric car companies that was gonna build a 18-wheeler truck that is electric. And later found out that it was fake. So in every new technology, there's always going to be those people that just want to take advantage of the situation. Same thing happened in the early days. E-commerce sites that were just basically fake. They will steal your IDs or your credit card information and just go swipe away. That was a bunch of fake eBay websites. I mean, so it's new technology, fake people. Is basically it's been happening over time. So this is another distraction from Bitcoin. Bitcoin can do NFTs, as a matter of fact. It's just a matter of getting developers to get into that space to do what actually matters. And nothing against the Ethereum NFT based ERC20 based NFTs and the metaverse. It's just that there's just too much junk in that space, which is taken away from the blockchain technologies and the problems it should be solving.
Absolutely, I agree with you there. Some TA you have. What are we looking at today, sir?
Ooh, yeah, TA. So on the TA point, before we close for the day, let's go ahead and cover some TA. Let me share my screen here. Right. So Bitcoin, right? Last time we were on the show, we talked about Bitcoin possibly going down given the channel that we had, and we did have that touchdown there. This was what happened there. After we last spoke, and ever since then we've bounced back up. So I think we have a double bottom here. This is what you call them, cup. Might be a little cup and endo or so, but it's a double bottom there. There's a big possibility we should be going for that one. We have some resistance here at 19,570. Once we overcome that resistance level here, let me draw that line right there. See, that's that price action. Each time it's touched that line, it's broken and come back down. If we overcome this level here,
right?
Yeah, then we should be able to make it up to, there might be some resistance here or so around 19,998, because again, that's another resistance level here. As you can see, all the stops around that area, that right there, those are all resistance. Stopped again there. So it's another resistance level there. So we'll overcome that. We'll go to the next resistance. We overcome that. We'll come to this next level resistance. And after we break that, we should be seeing something around, as you can see there, somewhere around there, around 21,000. Now, I've been reading all over Twitter. It's a lot of people that trade this that are thinking they're going to dump it at this level. If they do dump it, we can see the price coming back down. If they don't dump it, then the next price level will be up here at 22,000. They don't dump it, then we'll be seeing the next price. So as you can see, the momentum is a little bit to the upside. I would say that's also kind of decided by whatever happens in the macroeconomics with SPY. SPY gave us a double bottom. I screwed up with my trades on Friday thinking that this was going to be the pump for that upward move. But I was wrong about that. We had a little push to the downside, but we'll see whatever happens. A little concern, though, is that the 200-day moving average on both Bitcoin and SPY, they're both facing downward. They're not twisting upwards. There have been conversations about quant pumping. This is one of those blockchains that are kicking space right now. If you miss this crossover of the moving averages and the RSI crossover, I would say you're probably chasing at this point. If you're getting in now, it might be a little bit too late. I might be wrong, but that's just a really good candles on the daily chart on quant. On Ubi token, they just got some new leadership. And that's what caused this cross over the weekend, and we have this movement up. My concern with that, though, is that those candles on the 1 minute chart and the 5 minute charts look a little bit funny. I hope it's not a pump and dump, but they are very, very small candles. I'm not sure where those volumes are coming from, but those are my concerns for those two pumps going on right now. Looking great for the crypto space, though. Those are all my comments that I have for now.
Absolutely. Well, it's been a great show.
Yep.
Very, very entertaining. Let us know what you guys think of all of these updates, especially the RGB one. If you're familiar with this RGB project on the Bitcoin network or the Lightning network, definitely share your thoughts about it with us. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, do not forget to like, share, subscribe to the channel. Of course, all of our handles are down there. If you have any questions, concerns, suggestions, definitely shoot us a message. Double up. Any final thoughts?
Thanks for watching.
There we go. Until next time, brazen out.
Double up.